thing that black women miss the trick on is that black men already know that black women only date black men, generally. So it's like I'd say it's like a 90% split. Maybe 10% might date outside, 90% only go for black men. So that means we already know your hand. So we already know, you need this, you need that, you need blah, 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 blah. But actually, you're only going to date me. So me existing, I'm already good enough. Not realistically, but I mean, as in you're only going to select from me. And there's no real way I'm going to lose you because you're not going to look anywhere else.
So y'all are going to force me to talk about Tyre Nichols one way or another, aren't y'all? And listen, yesterday I had emails from people notifying me that there have been some old colorist, anti-dark-skinned black women tweets from Tyre Nichols, the usual, and asked me to talk about this. And y'all already know I said I don't want to talk about Tyre Nichols. I think this is largely a situation that should only be addressed and dealt with by black men, because there were 5 of them who stomped him out, and women of no color who were the preference of Tyre Nichols. And when I shared the community wall post of another content creator to my channel so you guys could see that this is the typical and the usual scenario, I did that so that people would actually stop asking me to talk about this man. Because listen, I told you guys years ago that the black male reckoning was coming, and a part of that black male reckoning is exposure. And I also told you guys back when we were dealing with the Stephon Clarks and all of the other black men who became hashtags and then were later exposed to have a disdain for black women, that advocating for bandits should not be something that you are doing. Number one, this is a very masculine position that you're putting yourself in, only for these very same men to then come back and not only tell you that you're masculine, and because you're masculine, they don't desire you, but then go on media platforms and talk about how they don't even want you protesting for them because your skin is too dark, and they would prefer their preferences, who literally are not going to go out and protest for them. You may see a few of them protesting with their black friends so that they can be on the so-called right side of history, but by and large, women of no color, who are the ultimate preference to black males, who ultimately are trying to find parity with and proximity to men of no color, are not going to go out and engage in the masculine behavior of protesting on behalf of men who could just be complying. The reason I'm saying this is because largely this is their attitude towards you. We saw it with Corinne Gaines, we saw it with Sandra Bland, we've seen it with a number of different black women who have become hashtags to the same police that literally black men continue to complain about, except when the face of the officer looks the exact same as their own face. Because aside from Jason Whitlock and a few other high-profile black men, largely black men have been ignoring this. You have not seen them make videos. You have not seen them go on 5, 6, 7, 8-hour live streams talking about how this black man, who have now been exposed to not only be a worshiper of women of no color, which shouldn't be a surprise to you, was indeed stomped out by 5 different black men. They are going to ignore this issue, and so am I, if y'all would just let me. But because you guys have sent me these tweets and you refuse to let me just rest in my femininity and ignore Tyre Nichols, I wanted to come on here not to really so much as discuss these tweets, but to really talk about where it is that black women are confused. Because when I heard about this situation, to be honest, just like it came out with George Floyd and a number of different black men, I already anticipated that this man was going to be tied to a woman of no color, and just like Christian Obumseli, he would also be tied to some tweets or some Instagram or some Facebook posts that he made years ago, not only telling but showing black women how they feel about them. And it's really interesting because when I shared said content creator's post where she put up images of the mother of no color that Tyre Nichols had, there were numerous black women in the comment section saying what they always say, which is, oh, well, he hasn't said anything negative about black women. It sounds like He just loved his baby mother as he should. And with that attitude, black women are always going to fall for the okie doke. You're always going to be looking dumb out here, and you're always going to get the short end of the stick because you have tied yourself and your loyalty to some struggle bandits who simply do not care about you. Black women, we're out here looking like fools. But I want to get more into that. I want to talk about nonverbal communication and how most of what you say is not coming out your mouth. I've said this before, but clearly black women are just not catching on. Before I get into that, I want to give a shout out and thanks to everyone who sends me content that you want to see on the channel. If you would like to contribute to the content that you see on the channel, you can do so by emailing me. The email is in the description box and pinned to the comment section. Thumbs up to the video, subscribe to the channel. When you do subscribe, don't forget to hit the notification bell and subscribe to all notifications so you'll know every time I go live and when I upload new content. Now, so I want to tell you guys a little bit about nonverbal communication. And nonverbal communication was created by Charles Darwin, who in 1872 was studying the nonverbal communication interactions between animals such as lions, tigers, and bears. Now, I'm saying lions, tigers, and bears, but if you look it up, it actually says lions, tigers, and dogs. After Charles Darwin established the concept of nonverbal communication, many different psychologists and sociologists and just professionals in general clung to that notion of nonverbal communication as well, to the degree that many psychologists and professionals would say that upwards of 80 to 90% of your communication is actually nonverbal, meaning not spoken through your mouth, but through your behavior rather than verbal. If you've been considering homeschooling or feel your child is not thriving in public school, consider the Ziax Institute. This is a STEM-based, Afro-centered educational program for Black youth. Children can attend daily classes online or in the classroom at one of their 2 New York-based facilities. You can also make a tax-deductible donation to this nonprofit organization using PayPal, or you can donate via GoFundMe using the links in the description box. So go to theziaxinstitute.org and
Dawn Power Wash has 3 cleaning boosters not found in traditional dish soaps. It's more than soap, it's power wash.
Pampers Cruisers 360. Live wild and free with up to 100% leak-free fit.
and enroll your child today. And one thing that I've been trying to get Black women to understand on this channel is that they need to stop paying attention to what Black men are saying and pay attention to what they are doing. And you guys know that throughout my time here, or at least the last 3 to 4 years, I've been asking a question that nobody can seem to answer, which is, what do Black men do to show that they love Black women? Now, we have heard Black women attempt to twist themselves in a pretzel, and when Black men answer the question, they do it very arrogantly, or just give you the excuse that they're willing to date Black women, but nobody can seem to provide a valid example of any behavior that Black men engage in to express love for Black women. And one way that you can express nonverbal emotions, meaning what you like, what you desire, what's important to you, is via imagery. We now know that on social media is one of the most profound ways that people express what they like, what they're interested in, and what they value. And what we have seen from Black men is that they value whiteness. They are interested in creating confused biracial children who will grow to be biracial adults and get on TikTok or other social media platforms and tell you about their colorist fathers or their racist mothers. And we know that Black men value not just women of no color and the ability to erase their Blackness via the womb of women of no color, but they also value men of no color. And Tyre Nichols is no exception. Where you will find a dark-skinned Black man who became a hashtag, you will find an obsession with women of no color and men of no color stemming 10, 15 years before they became a hashtag. Now, one thing that many black women tend to think is that because time has passed by that somehow the sentiments of a man like Tyre Nichols would have changed. However, that is not the case, because what you have been seeing and what you saw here is a collection of tweets that go back to 2010. However, you can go to Tyre Nichols' social media accounts and you can see in 2018 and 17 him expressing the same sentiments. We know that he had a young biracial child. It is 2023, so he lived his life in accordance to what he valued, which was women of no color. I want you guys to take a look at these pictures here and some additional tweets. And then when I come back, I want to get more into this pathology and why it is that black women are ignoring the loud, obnoxious behaviors of black men and how they show on a daily basis that you just are not what they value. Go ahead and look at some of these pictures from Tyre Nichols' social media accounts. And listen, when I say they express this all over social media, they express this all over social media. The images that you're going to see are from his Instagram account. The tweets that you saw were from Twitter. So not only was he expressing what he valued and what he did not value on Twitter, he was doing it on Instagram and probably every other social media outlet that he had access to. So go ahead and look at some of these images and tweets, and I'll come back for further commentary.
Ew.
Now, you guys saw those images, and listen, that was a lot. And actually, as I was scrolling through Tyre Nichols' Instagram account, at a certain point, I had to stop because the obsession that he had with women of no color, not just the one that he was dating, was astounding. He also seemed to promote a lot of men of no color. If you look on his Twitter page, he had images of men of no color who were wrestlers, as well as tributes to Paul Walker. So this man had an obsession with women of no color and men of no color, just people of no color in general. And when it comes to dark-skinned black men and this level of self-hatred, there is a profile, and that profile is typically a dark-skinned black man. And literally there have been studies conducted on this, on the meaning of colorism, the point of colorism when it's displayed by black men. And I remember a while back I did content on a study that was conducted by a black man where he was seeking to dismantle the belief of colorism. And what he actually found was that colorism was actually linked to proximity to whiteness. And it wasn't so much the skin tone, it was the association with the skin tone that they were applying, meaning in the study, it said that there was a dark-skinned black woman who was seen more attractive than even the light-skinned women when she stated that she was not black. So ultimately, colorism is about, according to this professional and this person who did the study, a disassociation from blackness. It just so happens that the lighter the skin is, the more disassociation they see you having from blackness. But in that study, when the darkest skinned woman stated that she was not black, she was seen as more attractive than the lighter skinned women who said that they were mixed with black. So ultimately, black men are out here on a quest to find whoever they believe is not black. I want you guys to think about 50 Cent when he announced that he was with this woman, Cuban Link, and he started focusing more on her ethnicity of being Cuban rather than the fact that she's a black woman, because we know that Cuban is not a race and there are a lot of black Cubans. So ultimately, this is what the pathology is. And what's ironic about this, it is Tyre Nichols' dark-skinned black mother, not his baby mother of no color, who's out here doing these interviews, showing her emotions and trying to seek justice for the toe tagging of her son by 5 black bandits and with badges. That's the ironic part about it, but this is what we typically see. What we typically see is a black male who becomes a hashtag, and when that man becomes a hashtag, it is black women, particularly, specifically dark-skinned black women, who are out trying to seek justice for this man. I don't want to hear any delusional black male worshipers coming in here talking about the date that is on these Instagram and Twitter posts. The reality is that most of what you say and most of what you express is not coming out of your mouth. So if we looked at the nonverbal cues of what Tyre Nichols was saying, he was saying that he values women of no color and men of no color. If you look on his social media profile, he doesn't even have images of his own mother on there. He has no images of any black friends on there. So this man was running from his own blackness, and that was really ironic because it was black men's hatred of all things black that led to the toe tagging of this man. Now, there were rumors out that are saying that Tyre Nichols and one of the officers had a prior beef over a woman of no color, but again, this has been alleged and it has not been proven. However, that would not surprise me, because if you look throughout the history, black men have not only gone against their entire communities, but also themselves in the pursuit of women of no color. It is literally the only thing that they have ever fought for. While they cannot name one case they've taken to the Supreme Court on your behalf, we can literally just do the research and see not one, not two, not three, not four, but numerous cases taken to the Supreme Court to have access to women of no color. So black men show and tell what they value all day, every day, and Tyre Nichols is no exception. He's simply yet another example of another black man who, by the way, the only reason why we know he exists is because 5 bandits and badges who were dressed in black skin decided to stomp him out until he was sent to meet his maker. That is the only reason why we know about him. But this is what many black men subscribe to. It's just that black women simply want to ignore it. They want to act like this doesn't exist. They want to act like that a black man posting a shrine to women of no color on all of his social media accounts isn't speaking loud and clear. He doesn't need to come out of his mouth and say that he does not like you. All you have to look at is the way that he lived his life. Who did he date? Who did he mate with? What does his children look like? What did he put all over his social social media account. If nonverbal communication accounts for upwards of 80 to 90% of your communication, we can just conclude that Tyre Nichols was trying to communicate to the entire world that what he valued was the opposite of himself. If you like yourself, you do not go out and procreate with the exact opposite of yourself so that your lineage does not look like you. This is something that Black women are also ignoring, because while you're out here saying that you want to create these Black children and you will deal with the toxicity of Black male culture and the abuse and the degeneracy that comes with it, they're showing and telling that they don't want their legacy to be Black. They don't want to look at their children and see them being Black. They don't want to look at the mother of their children and she be Black and possess the ability to recreate that which he despises. That is not what they want. So this is, to a degree, yet another example of Black women trying to ignore reality. The reality of it is nearly all of the Black men who became hashtags that we've seen within the last 4 or 5 years have all been tied to women of no color, and they've all had old tweets or Instagram posts resurface where they were clearly showing their disdain for Black women. So I don't even know why when a Black man becomes a hashtag, you don't just assume that he didn't like you, especially when it pops up that he had children by another race of woman. For Stephon Clark, it was the Asian woman who didn't even want to let him live in her home. For Christian Obumseli, it was the woman of no color who was constantly going oops upside his head, videos coming out of her going in on him in an elevator, and meanwhile he's over here talking about Black women. 5 bandits with badges stomped this dude out. Meanwhile, you go look at his Twitter account and he's talking about Black women's wigs and how they look when they engage in fights. Well, how did you look, Tyre Nichols, when you were getting stomped out by those 5 bandits with badges? How did you look then? Oh, we already know, because your picture is circulating all over the internet, and the only people who are whining and crying publicly about you are the very women that you didn't like. Where is his baby's mama? Why haven't she came out and made any statement yet? I actually Googled to see if she came out and made a statement, and I literally put mother of Tyre Nichols, child speaks out, and the only thing that keeps coming out is Tyre Nichols' mother can't hear his cries. Mom of Tyre Nichols doesn't want kids to see the video of her son. So the woman that he valued, the woman that he made shrines to, assuming that that's her, it could just be another woman of no color, whatever, same difference. The woman that he valued, the woman that he wanted to share his legacy with, the woman he procreated with, has been silent this whole time. Do you think she's out protesting getting justice for her baby daddy now that her son does not have a father anymore? No. So not only do Black men show Black women how they feel about them, but the preferences do a very good job, both verbally and non-verbally, showing what they feel about these men. In the absence of the woman that Tyre Nichols procreated with coming out and saying anything in defense of him, she is showing very loudly and very clearly how she actually felt about him. So he could have sat up here and promoted women of no color all day, every day. No woman of no color was promoting him. Notice there's no images from his baby's mother's account where she had him all over his account talking about how much she loved him. This man literally in one of those Instagram post said that woman of no color was his life, that he had never been happier in his life to be laid up with her. And now that he's the most recent hashtag, they're silent from the very woman that he laid down and procreated with. But Black women are not silent, though. Black women are all over social media expressing sympathy and empathy for this man. Black women are all over social media talking about how what happened to him was unjust. Black women are all over social media trying to promote justice for a man who literally didn't even have his own mama on his social media account. But he sure did have a woman of no color on there, though, talking about how she was like a second mother to him. I scrolled through his Instagram page, not one image of his own mother, who's all over the news crying over him being toe tagged. And probably because she's a dark-skinned woman, probably because her womb is the womb that created the skin that he lived in that he hated. And this is something that no one wants to talk about because he became a hashtag why. What did the people who turned him into the hashtag look like? Did they bear the same skin tone as him? Yes. And so when those bandits with badges were stomping this man out, do you think they had any image other than themselves in their minds, in their subconscious mind, in their psyche? Because they didn't care about blackness, and they showed what they thought about blackness when they were stomping out Tyre Nichols. It just is what it is. And now his baby mama is nowhere to be found. Nobody wants to mention that. She ain't came out and shed a tear. She ain't came out and said nothing. Remember when George Floyd was toe tagged? All the women of no color who he was dating came out and said was that George Floyd does not want you guys protesting on his behalf. And black women still continue to engage in that behavior. And they still don't thank you. They still justify anything that happens to you. So when a black man like this becomes a hashtag, or any black man, do I need to go search his Instagram or Twitter accounts and look for old tweets? No, because I understand the pathology, and I understand that where there is a bandit who had an obsession with a woman of no color and procreated with one, and that's not to say there's anything really wrong with these women, but these are the preference of these men nonetheless, and the fact that they are a preference of these men is very telling. But I don't need to go search an Instagram or a Twitter account to find old tweets or see what his attitude was towards black women. I can see what his attitude was towards black women based on who he decided to love and procreate with. And in the absence of him loving and procreating with a black woman, that very much shows his disdain for it. Now, you guys may need for him to come out of his mouth verbally and say, "You're right," in big bold red letters, "I don't like black women." I don't need that. It's called nonverbal communication. And I think this is something that black women should probably look into, because nonverbal communication will tell you everything that you need to know. And black men's nonverbal and verbal communication, including Tyre Nichols, have shown the same pathology that I've been telling you guys about. But you get in the comment section. Let me know what you think about everything you saw here. What do you think about all of the images that you saw in the shrine and the ode to women of no color and just people of no color? What do you guys think about the fact that Tyre Nichols didn't even have his own mother on any of his social media accounts? And quite frankly, he was the only black person featured on his social media account. What do you guys think about the fact that Tyre Nichols, baby mother of no color, has not come out and spoken on his behalf even one time? Whatever you think, get in the comment section and let me know. Like, comment, subscribe, share the video. When you do subscribe, don't forget to hit the notification bell and subscribe to all notifications so you'll know every time I go live and when I upload new content. Thanks so much for your support, and I'll see you in the next one.
She talked about you, about what you do, but where her man at though?